The mysterious library ... In the heart of a bustling city, there was a secret library that only appeared at night. The library was said to contain ancient tomes and mysterious artifacts that held the key to unlocking the universe's greatest secrets. The hidden door was cleverly disguised as a bookshelf in a small, used bookstore. Only those who knew the correct sequence of books to press would be able to gain entry to the mysterious library. As the door creaked open, a wise old librarian emerged from the shadows. With piercing green eyes and a long, silver beard, he regarded the newcomer with a discerning gaze. Who dares to disturb the silence of the library? He asked in a low, rumbling voice. The librarian beckoned the newcomer to approach. To prove your worthiness to enter this sacred place, he said, what can be broken, but never held? He asked, his eyes glinting with challenge. As the librarian led the newcomer through the shelves, the air grew thick with the scent of old parchment and forgotten knowledge. Tomes bound in worn leather seemed to stretch on forever, each one containing secrets and stories from a bygone era. The librarian stopped at a shelf filled with books that shimmered and glowed. These are the tomes of forgotten magic, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The librarian carefully pulled out a book with a cover as black as coal. The newcomer felt a shiver run down their spine as the librarian opened the book, revealing pages filled with strange symbols that seemed to shift and writhe like living things. This is the Tome of Shadows, the librarian said, his voice low and mysterious. It holds the secrets of darkness and light. Are you brave enough to look within? The newcomer felt a surge of curiosity and trepidation as they gazed upon the Tome of Shadows. The symbols on its pages seemed to be calling to them, drawing them in with an otherworldly allure. As they delved deeper into the book, they discovered secrets of the ancient arts, forbidden knowledge, and whispers of a long-forgotten civilization. Suddenly, the room began to darken, as if the shadows themselves were closing in. The librarian's eyes glowed with an ethereal light. You have unlocked a power beyond your wildest imagination, he whispered. But beware, for with great power comes great danger. The room grew darker, until the newcomer felt as though they were being consumed by the shadows. The librarian's eyes glowed brighter, illuminating a pathway through the darkness. Come, the librarian said, his voice low and mysterious. It is time for you to enter the shadow realm. The newcomer felt a shiver run down their spine as they stepped forward, following the librarian into the unknown. As they crossed into the shadow realm, the newcomer felt a strange sensation, as though they were passing through a veil of darkness. The air grew colder, and the silence was oppressive. The librarian led them through a twisted landscape of dark towers and foreboding forests. They walked for what felt like hours, the only sound being the soft rustle of the librarian's robes. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows. Its face was deathly pale, with eyes that burned like embers. Welcome, mortal, the figure said in a voice that sent shivers down the newcomer's spine. I have been waiting for you. The figure stepped closer, its eyes fixed intently on the newcomer. I am the master of shadows, it said, its voice dripping with malevolence. And you, mortal, have entered my realm uninvited? The librarian stood forward, his eyes flashing with a fierce inner light. The newcomer has come seeking knowledge, he said, his voice steady and calm. And I have brought them to this place. The master of shadows raised an eyebrow. Knowledge, it repeated, or power? The master of shadows stepped closer, its eyes burning with an otherworldly intensity. Power is a seductive thing, mortal, it said, its voice dripping with temptation. But it comes at a price. Are you willing to pay it? The newcomer hesitated, unsure of what to say. The librarian's eyes seemed to bore into their soul, as if searching for an answer. The newcomer took a deep breath, weighing the cost of forgetting. Memories of loved ones, of laughter and tears, of triumphs and failures, all would be lost. I accept. The newcomer said finally, their voice barely above a whisper. The master of shadows nodded, its eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Then let the forgetting begin, it said. The librarian stepped forward, a small, leather-bound book in his hand. This is the Book of Forgetting, he said. Its pages hold the power to erase memories. The librarian opened the Book of Forgetting, revealing pages filled with strange symbols that shimmered like moonlight. The air seemed to vibrate with an otherworldly energy as the newcomer felt their memories begin to unravel. Remember, the Master of Shadows whispered, "Once forgotten, memories can never be regained." The newcomer nodded, steeling themselves for what was to come. The librarian began to read from the Book of Forgetting, their voice weaving a spell of oblivion. As the words washed over them, the newcomer felt their memories slipping away, lost in a sea of forgetfulness. The newcomer's eyes grew heavy as the librarian's words washed over them. Memories of childhood laughter, of first loves and heartbreaks, of triumphs and failures, all began to fade. The Master of Shadows watched with an unblinking gaze, its eyes burning with an otherworldly intensity. The librarian's voice grew louder, the words of the Book of Forgetting weaving a spell of oblivion. As the last of their memories disappeared, the newcomer felt a strange sense of liberation. They were no longer bound by the chains of their past, but as they looked around, they realized that something was wrong. The Master of Shadows was smiling, its eyes gleaming with malevolence. "You may have forgotten your past," it said, "but you will never forget the price you paid." The Master of Shadows stepped closer, its eyes blazing with an otherworldly intensity. "You have forgotten your past," it said, "but you will never forget the price you paid." The newcomer looked down at their hands and gasped in horror. Their skin was deathly pale, and their fingers ended in sharp, claw-like nails. "What have you done to me?" They screamed, but the Master of Shadows just laughed. "You are now one of us," it said, a creature of the Shadow Realm. The newcomers' eyes widened in terror as they realized the true cost of their newfound power. The newcomers' memories were gone, erased by the power of the Book of Forgetting. They felt a strange sense of emptiness, as if a part of them had been torn away. The Master of Shadows handed them a small, blank book. "This is your new story," it said. "Write your own destiny." The newcomer took the book, feeling a sense of uncertainty. What would they write? What kind of story would they create? As they opened the book, they saw that the pages were empty, waiting to be filled. The newcomer's pen hovered over the empty page. What would they write? A name, a place, a memory. And then, in a flash of inspiration, they wrote a single word: hope. As soon as the ink touched the page, the room began to transform. The dark shadows receded, and a warm light filled the space. The Master of Shadows smiled, its eyes gleaming with approval. "Well done, mortal," it said. "You have taken the first step on your journey." The librarian nodded, his eyes shining with a knowing glint. "The story has begun," he said. "Now, let us see where it takes you." As the newcomer continued to write, the room transformed further. The walls, once lined with dusty tomes, now displayed vibrant tapestries depicting fantastical landscapes. The Master of Shadows stepped forward, its dark form morphing into a majestic being with wings like a swan. "Your story is taking shape," it said. "What will you write next?" The librarian nodded, his eyes shining with excitement. "The possibilities are endless," he said. The newcomer's pen hovered over the page, poised to create the next chapter in their journey. The newcomer's pen began to move, writing words that seemed to flow from a deep well within. The room transformed further, the tapestries on the walls changing to reflect the story unfolding on the page. A heroic figure emerged, brave and strong, with a quest to complete. The Master of Shadows watched with interest, its wings spread wide. "What challenges will you create for your hero?" it asked, its voice low and mysterious. The newcomer thought for a moment, then began to write again. The words flowed onto the page, creating a world of wonder and danger. As the newcomer wrote on, the room transformed further. The tapestries on the walls began to glow, illuminating a pathway through a mystical forest. The Master of Shadows, now in its swan-like form, spread its wings. Your journey is taking you to wondrous places, it said. The librarian nodded, his eyes shining with excitement. The story is unfolding, and the possibilities are endless. The newcomer looked up from their writing, a sense of wonder on their face. What lay ahead on their journey? As the newcomer continued on their journey, a mysterious figure emerged from the shadows. Cloaked in darkness, the figure's face was hidden, making it impossible to discern their intentions. The Master of Shadows watched with interest, its swan-like form radiating an aura of calm. Who is this mysterious figure? The librarian asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The newcomer's pen hovered over the page, poised to reveal the figure's identity. The newcomer's pen began to move, revealing the mysterious figure's identity. As the words flowed onto the page, the figure's cloak dissolved, revealing a powerful sorceress. The Master of Shadows nodded its great swan-like head in approval. A worthy adversary, it said. The librarian's eyes sparkled with excitement. The story is taking a thrilling turn. The sorceress stepped forward, her eyes blazing with magic. I have been waiting for you, she said. The newcomer's pen moved swiftly, revealing the sorceress's secret. As the words flowed onto the page, the room filled with an eerie glow. The sorceress seeks the ancient tome, the Master of Shadows said, its voice low and mysterious. The librarian nodded, his eyes shining with excitement. A powerful artifact hidden away for centuries. The sorceress stepped closer, her eyes blazing with determination. I will stop at nothing to claim it, she said. The newcomer's pen moved swiftly, revealing the location of the ancient tome. As the words flowed onto the page, the room filled with an intense, magical energy. The tome lies within the heart of the mystical forest, the Master of Shadows said. The librarian nodded, his eyes shining with excitement. A perilous journey awaits. The sorceress smiled, her eyes gleaming with determination. I am ready. The newcomer's pen moved swiftly, and the sorceress vanished into the mystical forest. The Master of Shadows watched with interest. The journey will be treacherous, the Master of Shadows said. The librarian nodded. But with courage and determination, the sorceress may succeed. As the newcomer continued writing, the room transformed further. The walls dissolved, revealing the mystical forest. The newcomer's pen revealed hidden dangers lurking within the mystical forest. The sorceress walked cautiously, sensing the presence of unseen creatures. The forest is full of secrets, the Master of Shadows said. The librarian nodded. And ancient magic. As the newcomer continued writing, the forest grew darker. Shadows deepened, and the trees seemed to twist and writhe. The newcomer's pen revealed ancient ruins hidden within the mystical forest. The sorceress approached cautiously, sensing powerful magic emanating from the structures. The ancient ones once wielded great power, the Master of Shadows said. The librarian nodded. And left behind remnants of their magic. As the newcomer continued writing, the ruins began to glow with an ethereal light. The newcomer's pen revealed a hidden chamber deep within the ancient ruins. The sorceress stepped inside, and the walls began to glow with an intense, magical energy. The ancient tome lies within, the Master of Shadows said. The librarian nodded. But beware, for the chamber is guarded by powerful magical wards. As the newcomer continued writing, the chamber filled with an eerie, pulsating light. The newcomer's pen brought the magical wards to life. The sorceress raised her hands, and a shield of sparkling energy protected her from the ward's deadly spells. The wards are powerful, the Master of Shadows said. The librarian nodded. But the sorceress's magic is stronger. As the newcomer continued writing, the ward's energy intensified. The newcomer's pen finally revealed the ancient tome. The sorceress reached out, and as she touched the book, its cover burst open, releasing a brilliant light. The secrets of the ancient ones are yours, the Master of Shadows said. The librarian nodded. Use the knowledge wisely. As the newcomer finished writing, the room returned to normal. The newcomer's pen closed, marking the end of one journey and the beginning of another. The sorceress, now empowered with ancient knowledge, smiled. The next chapter awaits, the Master of Shadows said. The librarian nodded. and a new story begins. The room faded, leaving only the newcomer's pen and paper. The pen hovered, ready to start a new adventure.